All right. So, quick update because I need to put this out there because apparently, because people think that I'm a hobbyist, and they don't see me as a businessman of any kind. Um, it's okay to drag their feet. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand, oh, well, we have a business to run and we have other people who are paying customers and this, that, and the other. Fine. Fine. But I want to point this out to you over at Tandy Leather. I understand why your business went under. If, for instance, okay, let's just walk through this real quick. I'm a knife maker by hobby. It would be by trade, except for the fact that I can't get people up off their ass fast enough to go and do things. And the knives that I make take for fucking ever to make. So it has to be by hobby. It can't be by trade. That being said, if it was a by trade situation, I would be out of business. Not because it takes forever to make my knives, but because in order to make those knives, I need to have leather in order to make the sheaths, in order to make the handles, in order to make things like, key fobs and doodads that go with it. I need that leather to do that. And last I checked, when I'm waiting on somebody else for materials in order to go and then turn around to tell my customers or whatever, okay, let's be clear, this is a hypothetical at this point. But I have to go tell my customer, sorry, we're waiting on the leather guy. I mean, this is why you're not getting videos of me making knives or shit like that. This is why you're not getting videos of the knives being finished and shit like that. Because for the last week and a half, we have been waiting on a shipment from Tandy Leather that left a week ago. Supposedly. You see what I'm saying here? I know it didn't fucking leave a week ago. I know it didn't. You know how I know this? Because it doesn't take a week for UPS to ship something to your house. In fact, normally it takes about 2 to 3 days. Max. They're kind of snappy on it. If it's coming from another country, it can take up to a week. Are you shipping from another country? Are you shipping leather from another country? That's illegal, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. It's against FDA standard to ship leather from another country to the United States. The reason being, pests and parasites. Yes, they can still live on the leather. So are you shipping from another country? If that's the case, I understand why Mr. Trump is pissed and going and throwing tariffs up your ass left and fucking right. I also understand why your company is going out of business so fast that you've lost every single storefront across the nation, save for a handful. And that's just because people are willing to pay outrageous fucking prices for leather because it's the only game in town. I'm almost wanting to go down here to the freaking the farrier and ask them for leather. I'm so glad right now that I am a hobbyist and not a fucking cutler by trade. Because this shit would be putting me out of business. If I've got to wait on somebody else for product so that I can turn around, on somebody else for material so that I can turn around and make a product. If I have to wait on that, it throws off my entire method. It throws off my entire schedule, which is already 2 to 3 years long per blade. I have to design, get the materials for the blade itself, manufacture the blade through old techniques that are hundreds of years old in order to afford it, by the way, because to do it fast, I need fancy fucking goddamn tools that cost millions of dollars. Millions. Not just, oh, I dug it up out of the backyard, frickin' made it myself, worked hard and made that shit myself. No, millions of fucking dollars to make this same material out of pre-existing materials. Millions. That's what it costs for a carburization machine. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just like it costs for a milling machine. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just like it costs for a freaking anything that's not DIY. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, in order to do this, I have to go through the fucking ringer in order to be able to do it. I'm using techniques that are older than our country to do it. Because I'm not going to sit there and spend over $100,000, enough to buy a new fucking house, on a machine that I can literally make in my backyard. This is what pisses me the fuck off. If it wasn't for the fact of me having to sit here and wait for other motherfuckers, I'd actually be shipping those knives out right now. Because they're done. Oh, after a fact, I still have to finish the handle on Joey's knife. And in order to do that, I need the leather. Also, I need the sheaths in order to ship those out. So here's the crazy shit, bro. Hobbyist I may well be. But I'm done with Tandy leather if I can help it. Because holy fuck. If I had just for a second had the foresight to know that it would take them an act of God in Congress to get up off their asses for somebody who does it as a hobby, I damn sure wouldn't have fucking been sitting there going to them. Especially not for business. Oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no. I'm not going to Tandy for business, not ever. Sorry, but if I dragged my fucking feet as much as y'all motherfuckers do, I'd be on my knees as an amputee. Holy shit. I could have driven to the local Tandy Leather store, which is in Portland, by the way, 11 times since the order was placed and had time to sleep in between trips. And when I say sleep, I mean get a good 6 to 8 hours, bro. Holy fuck. I am so glad that I am not, it is not a business situation for me. I am fucking ecstatic that I'm not asking people for money for these knives. For these, handmade knives, handmade leather sheaths. I am fucking ecstatic. Because if I was, I'd be out of business. I'd be so far under, in fact, that I would be living on Skid Row, not even dressed. They'd have fucking taken all the clothes off my back. I would be so fucking impoverished, eating out of a dumpster would be fucking goddamn tantamount to thievery. Thank God I don't do this as a business. I am so fucking happy right now. This is just a hobby to me. My business is in security. And I do that very well. I'm a scary son of a bitch. My hobby is I make really fucking good knives. I go fishing. I go hunting. I go fucking backpacking across the United States. I do crazy shit. I come up with weird concepts. I figure out fucking fixes to problems, solutions to things that most people didn't even think was a problem. This I can't fix. I can't fix somebody else's fuck up when it's their entire existence doing this job. Your entire existence is doing leather work. Your entire existence is shipping. I can't fix your fuck up, bro. I can't fix it. So very simply, until they get up off their asses and finally, ship the leather, we're going to be sitting back waiting for those fucking knives. I'm going to be sitting here with my thumbs shoved up my ass going, well, not today. They didn't get here today. This is why I've been doing all these other videos. This is why I've been doing these other op-eds and shit like that, talking crap on the internet for no other fucking reason than I can't even light my forge right now. I'm waiting on somebody to get up off their ass and ship a box of leather no bigger than my backpack. Literally. I swear to God, if I was fucking buying a goddamn dairy farm, they'd move faster. Y'all know I actually am forgoing my hunting and fishing licenses this month. Forgoing deer hunting this year. Because these cocksuckers, because I spent $250 fucking dollars on leather and tools to make y'all's knives. And these motherfuckers ain't even shown up yet. Ain't gotten off their fucking chunklies to go and get fucking mad about it and get things done. Dude, like I said, if I drag my feet as much as y'all, I'd be on my knees as a fucking amputee. I'd have ground them motherfuckers down to the bloody nubs. If I drag my ass as much as y'all motherfuckers do, they'd be asking me if I fucking breathe fire. With all that dragon ass rolling around. This is beyond retarded. This is beyond not okay. I thank God every day that this is a hobby. Because like I said, if it was a business, I'd be out of business. That's why I can do such good quality blades. That's why I can make things that most people wouldn't even think to make. They'd be like, oh, well, why does the tip of the knife bend? Why does it bend over like that? Well, would you want the tip of your knife to snap off? I mean, I don't know if y'all knew this, but this cheapo Chinese piece of shit that I carry everywhere, this thing doesn't have a tip anymore. You can kind of see it there. It got broke off right here. This used to be this much longer. See that? Do you see how the shape of the knife would have come out here? Tip of the knife broke off because it's a piece of cheap Chinesium shit that they fucking hardened beyond the point of usefulness. This is why you could sharpen it once and fucking damn near cut through fucking iron with it. But at the same time, you drop it on the ground and the motherfucker shatters. My knives, on the other hand, you could walk through hell, maybe get a bent tip on one of them, then turn around, walk over to an anvil with a hammer, give it a couple of taps, and that motherfucker's ready to fight with again. That's how my knives are made. That's what they're made to do. My knives are combat knives. My knives are fucking tested in actual reality. Not, oh, does it look pretty enough to sell? I don't give a fuck about that. I don't want the knife coming back to me with the guy saying, dude, the tip broke. You know, it's one of those things like, I want a knife that's sharp enough that you could use it like a fucking scalpel. Not sit there and be like, oh, well, you know, I can cut things with it, but it's more of a tear than a cut. That's what a utilitarian knife is for. You use that shit for like cutting things like leather and cardboard and shit like that. You don't use it for cutting skin. My knives? Why? My knives you could use for surgery. That's why the silicone steel on the outside of high carbon steel. Strong spine, extremely sharp edge. To the point where I could cut your name into with that motherfucker. This is the whole point behind silicone steel. A lot of people don't realize that. They're like, oh, well, isn't that the stuff you get out of the steel so that it's better and harder and stronger? Yeah. It's also what you put back into steel to make it into surgical and combat steel. Because you need a sharp edge. So very sharp. Because it's got to go through clothing and skin and even bone and just cut or pierce, not lacerate. There's a difference there. A laceration takes forever to heal, doesn't bleed as much, really messy when you're trying to stitch it back up, really hard to control. Don't know if you knew that, by the way. That's why when you make a stab or a cut with a modern knife, like you're fighting somebody, you stab them or you cut them with that modern knife, it makes this big old ugly ass freaking super squirrely looking ass wound. That's why. This is why in the old days, the wounds were actually, even though they were bigger blades and more fucking, way more just grotesque of blades, the wounds were actually very neat. I didn't say that they were any nicer. I said they were neat. This is why we had swords in those days. Because a bigger blade made a more grotesque and gruesome wound. Smaller knives, you could slice yourself with it and be like, oh shit. Pinch it together, give it about 15 minutes, and you're done. It's healed back together. Because it's such a sharp-ass edge, your skin literally doesn't know it's been separated. That's the whole point behind surgical steel. This is why they use it in scalpels. Oh, well, Blaine, how do you know that they use a silicone steel in scalpels? Very simple. That edge that you see on the scalpel, hold it up to the light and watch the color difference in the light. The very finite edge on it, you'll see that it dances between rainbow colors. That's the silicone. You'll notice that the steel itself looks kind of silvery almost. Almost white instead of being, like a darker blue kind of color in it. It's more silvery white. That's the silicone. That is the quartz crystal being mixed with the iron, being mixed with the carbon all together. And then those bonded create a steel that's both soft and pliable, but at the same time holds an edge so finite that you can cut between cells. That's why it's used in combat knives. That's why it's used in freaking surgical knives and scalpels. For the very fact that it will cut... Fuck! It will cut through anything. Almost. Relatively speaking. For instance... These are surgical steel, okay? These little scissors. You can buy them anywhere at Walgreens or whatever. Little tiny surgical steel scissors, okay? That's actually surgical steel. You see the silvery white to it? All right. This is tool steel. See how it has more of a blue-gray kind of tinge? Let me see if I can get better lighting on that. See how it has a more of a blue-gray tinge versus our surgical steel? Now you can really see it. This one's more blue-gray, this one's more white. That's what I'm saying here. My knives are really fucking complicated to make. I work really hard on them. One of the reasons why they take so goddamn long. And then I turn around and it's time to make the sheaths and whatnot. And the most leather that I have is this piece that I carry in my backpack right now. This piece, old piece that I carry in my fucking backpack that I wouldn't make somebody's fucking sheath out of for their knife ever. It's blemished, it's ugly, it's nasty. It's got crap on it. I'm not using this for somebody's knives. But this is all the leather I have. That's almost $30 in leather sitting there. Did you know that? I bought fucking $250 worth of leather and leatherworking tools, and the leatherworking tools didn't cost more than $3.99 a piece. This is the amount of effort that I'm putting into this stuff, and everybody just kind of goes, oh, well, that's junk. It's garbage, man. Your knives suck ass. Well, if my knives suck so much ass, get up off your ass and fucking do them better. No, I didn't say do a knife. I didn't say make one. I said do them better. Make my knives better. You can't. Because I guarantee you're going to fuck up the process. Because I don't put all of the process out there. Sure, I'll yap about it and I'll talk about it, but you don't get to see the actual fucking process that goes into it. There is a lot of complicated freaking material sciences. A lot. Shit that you don't get to see. Shit that they don't teach you, even in schools. This is stuff that you have to learn hands-on, on the job. This is why this shit is so freaking complicated and so hard to do. This is why when people tell me, oh, well, your knives are junk, I'm like, yeah, all right, bro, go make one. No, don't make your brand of knife. Make one of mine. Put your money where your mouth is. Because I guarantee you they can't. They literally can't. It's not that they won't, it's that they can't. They don't have the knowledge to do it. They don't have the materials. They don't have the experience that I have. And yet they want to sit here and tell me, oh, well, your business model is garbage. Of course it is, dumbass. It's a hobby. It's something that I learned by learning history. You will not find a smith who does this these days. If you do, they're probably a better historian than I am. Because it took me learning from my dad, who was a machinist. It took me learning from local blacksmiths at the fucking county fair. And it took me learning from history books and by going and checking out museums and fucking walking all over this fucking country to different places and seeing different knives and axes and swords and stuff like that. Going to different collectors and saying, let me see your knives, let me see your swords, let me see your axes, let me see your blades of any kind. And, learning before I ever picked up a bar of steel and a hammer. I spent almost 15 years learning about knives before I ever fucking bought an anvil. I spent almost 15 years learning about different types of steel and different Rockwell hardnesses and different this, that, and the others and how to carburize something before I ever lit a forge. So, miss me with your bullshit of, oh, that's a garbage ass knife. Motherfucker, you don't know a good knife. You don't. And apparently, these motherfuckers, Tandy Leather, don't know a good business. That's all I've got for y'all. This is Yo Guardsman on me, motherfuckers. I just woke up. And this is how my day has started. You have a nice day. I'm out.